Coming up.
You don't want to do it like that.
Oh my God, that's just extraordinary.
You're more prepared than I am.
The clue was in the second word, yeah?
It's never Sam, is it? It's never Sam.
I don't think there was any need for that level of sarcasm.
Job done.
Having made the decision, I probably should have been a little more pure.
We'll be the judge.
How do you critique that? I mean, that was great.
You're not trying to reach the back of the room.
Strangely, it was quite extraordinary.
Ooh, I'm a little bit out of my depth here.
And we all know it's lift your herbs to the nose and smell them.
Thank God you didn't do that.
And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that? Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That, sponsored by BritishVoiceover.co.uk. This over here is my podcast co-host, Sam Boffin. Hi, Sam.
Hello. And this is Mark Rise, the other podcast host. The other podcast host.
Well, this is going well so far.
Absolutely.
How did you say that?
I don't think we did, indeed. We will meet our special guest in a moment. This week we are chatting to him as we set out to prove there's more than just one way to read some scripts.
Yes, if you are used to talking into a mic, unlike me. Oh my God. Unlike me this week. If you are used to talking into a mic, maybe you're also a voiceover, a podcaster or a director, or maybe you just like microphones, then this is the podcast for you.
Now, today's fun fact about Sam is that one of her favourite contemporary authors is Kate Atkinson. I don't know Kate Atkinson.
Really?
No, I don't.
Oh, Kate Atkinson's amazing. She does she does a lot of one-off novels, but she does a great series with a detective called Jackson Brodie, and she's got the 6th one is coming out this.
Oh, it sounds like it's just up my street. I'll go and check her out.
It's amazing. Oh, Kate Atkinson's brilliant. Yeah, so she's got Death at the Sign of the Rook coming out in September this year. I'm so excited for it. And Mark's fun fact is that when he was about 4, he said that his best friend was called Idiot. So what was his actual name?
My best friend was actually called Elliot, but I hadn't realised that, so I called him Idiot. My mum and my sister found it hilarious, obviously. But there we go.
Poor little boy.
Poor little Mark.
And poor Elliot's out there now are just kind of...
Indeed, poor
thanks a
Elliot,
bunch.
absolutely. Well, let me introduce you to that voice. We have a special guest who this week is actor and voiceover Will Harrison-Wallace. Hello, Will.
Greetings, friends.
It is lovely to have you here. Are you with us from Vauxhall today?
That is where I reside, yes.
Nice.
I'm on the 11th floor of a block overlooking the Thames, actually.
Oh, lovely. Well, no surprise then, Will is a Londoner. His route into acting and voice work was slightly unorthodox because he actually spent a number of years in the financial markets. And the financial crash of 2008 presented an open door for him and he walked right through it. He did a 1-year MA at drama school and then began a very different chapter in his life. Now, acting work has mostly been on the stage, UK tours, regional theatre, London Fringe, and in the last few years at the National Theatre and in the West End. I've seen him a number of times and he's amazing.
Well, one of his very first VO jobs was providing the voice of a bingo caller for a Facebook bingo game. And he enjoys character work, obviously. Audio drama, video games, dubbing, ADR, museum exhibition characters, that kind of thing. This year's game titles include Warhammer 3 Total War and Age of Water. He also voices 3 characters in Thomas and Friends, the latest iteration of Thomas the Tank Engine. Very different from the Ringo Starr days, though, Will.
Yeah,
these
do you
days.
remember that?
I do, absolutely.
He voiced everything, didn't he?
Yeah, he
just
did.
sort of
He did.
narrated it. Yeah.
Have you got a fun fact for us, Will?
I do. Well, I don't know. Is it fun? I mean, loosely fun.
We'll be the judge.
My first acting job, and it was professional, was at Glyndebourne Festival Opera. I was cast as a street urchin. I was aged 12 in La Bohème. And so I can claim to be a professional opera singer. My professional opera singing career didn't last very long. But
nice.
So, yeah, I went to school near there. We lived in Sussex, and they auditioned kids nearby. And I think there were 12 of us who were cast.
That must have been gorgeous to do at Glyndebourne.
Yeah, it was extraordinary. Yeah.
Wow.
I know you don't realise, at 12, you don't realise actually...
No, you don't.
What a thing it is, you know.
Yeah,
no,
it's true.
Sort of amazing.
True.
Wow.
Well, on that operatic child star note, let's have a look at the first script of our show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that?
Okay, so this is something that I did last week, in fact.
Okay. I see the word mindfulness, so
Yes.
I'm automatically transported into a specific kind of area. Is that correct or not correct?
Well, it's the mindfulness area, yes. It's, obviously.
All right.
It's,
I don't think there was any need for that level of sarcasm.
it's actually...
Clue was in the second word, yeah?
A mindfulness piece. No, it's...
Oh,
it's
just
a
shut
book,
up now.
Actually, it's an audio book.
Okay. That tells me more. Okay. You do some audiobooks, but shorter kind of books,
Shorter.
don't you?
This is
Okay.
part of a series, and these
Interesting.
are everyday books, and this happens to be the
And
mindfulness
is this
one.
Sam? Is it narrator? Is it a character? Who's talking?
It's never Sam, is it? It's never Sam.
It's never
but
Sam.
It's
A version of
Yeah,
Sam.
it's a sort of supportive, encouraging,
Okay.
warm narrator, I suppose.
Right. Okay.
I was seeing this as an app that you
Me
you
too.
would, you would
Me too.
just kind of plug into,
Yep.
and I'm going to look at intro to mindfulness or something, and
It really would be good as an app because it sort of takes you through how to weave mindfulness into everyday tasks.
right.
And this happens to be the cooking one. So, yeah.
Okay.
And it would be really, you're absolutely right. It would be a fantastic app. I might mention that to her.
Yeah, exactly. More money for Sam. All right, well, I'll have a go first.
Okay.
I'm going to put myself in... I'm thinking slightly slower and slightly more gentle than I would normally attack something with,
I
Sam.
was going to say, than you would normally.
Than I
So
would
yes,
normally do.
That is so.
I'm not going to go,
Mark Rice,
embracing
that is
mindfulness
so.
in the kitchen. It's gentle. I see how gentle I can go with it then and get away with it. All right. Embracing mindfulness in the kitchen allows you to turn an everyday task into a moment of peace and presence. The best part? You're incorporating mindfulness into something you already do, making it an effortless addition to your routine. Job done. Start by setting the stage for mindfulness. Take a moment to breathe deeply and clear your mind. Gather all your ingredients and tools, arranging them neatly. Notice the colours, textures and shapes of the ingredients. Lift the herbs to your nose and smell them. As you wash your hands, feel the temperature of the water and the sensation of cleanliness.
Nice. That was a lot softer than I was expecting.
Beautifully
Okay.
calming, and I'm closing my
Yeah.
eyes. And
Yes.
Did I go down far enough then?
You
Or
went down
too far?
further than I did. What did you
Okay.
think, Will?
when you say down, what do you mean down in tone and
Softness,
pace?
probably. Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, I thought it seemed to fit. I mean, to be honest, I'll come and do mine, and that's, I think, similar to kind of what's going on in my head. I mean, that your style is...
But
yeah,
I
think.
agree. Halfway through, I then suddenly remembered that Sam said book, not app. And
Yeah.
it's like, and I kind of think that I was aiming more app style, perhaps.
You'll see on the page, anybody that's looking at it, it's in sort of two different paragraphs.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a difference between the two paragraphs.
Agreed.
I think one of them is introducing the idea of it and can be quite breezy. And the next one is almost stepping you through it.
Yeah, a step-by-step instruction, isn't it?
Yes. So, Will,
Right.
do you want to have a go?
Yeah. Embracing mindfulness in the kitchen allows you to turn an everyday task into a moment of peace and presence. The best part? You're incorporating mindfulness into something you already do, making it an effortless addition to your routine. Job done. Start by setting the stage for mindfulness. Take a moment to breathe deeply and clear your mind. Gather all your ingredients and tools, arranging them neatly. Notice the colours, textures and shapes of the ingredients. Lift the herbs to your nose and smell them. As you wash your hands, feel the temperature of the water and the sensation of cleanliness.
Oh, he's
I
good, isn't he?
like that.
Isn't he good?
Yeah, I loved that smell them. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Did that-
little
I
bit
mean,
of
I thought-
extra improv.
Well, I got slightly put off by it because you said it was a book, and that in my head it's this app. You know, and you're literally the person's in the kitchen,
Yeah.
with
Yep.
the voice in the her ears, or his ears, being instructed, what to do.
Yes, because it looks like an instructional, doesn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, people will use it like that. I mean, this is an audio book. It's the sort of thing, I listen to, when I'm cooking, I listen to audiobooks all the time. So it may well be that is one of the ways that people might use it. It's a very short little book. So it is the sort of thing that you might dip into when you're doing, different things.
And is it mindfulness kind of 101? Is this basic? Yeah,
it is. It's an introduction to. Absolutely. It's an introduction to the idea of mindfulness.
You had a slightly harder edge, I think, in the way that you spoke in the voice you were using.
That's fair. I mean, maybe I do soft to a certain level and beyond.
It wasn't wrong. It worked absolutely brilliantly.
Okay.
It's just that I went softer than that, and I think I went the other way, in almost too soft in Sam's mind.
Well,
let's see what you did then, Sam.
Yes, let's. Embracing mindfulness in the kitchen allows you to turn an everyday task into a moment of peace and presence. The best part? You're incorporating mindfulness into something you already do, making it an effortless addition to your routine. Job done. Start by setting the stage for mindfulness. Take a moment to breathe deeply and clear your mind. Gather all your ingredients and tools, arranging them neatly. Notice the colours, textures and shapes of the ingredients. Lift the herbs to your nose and smell them. As you wash your hands, feel the temperature of the water and the sensation of cleanliness.
Nice. Yeah,
more instructional again than I thought you were going to do it after your description of it. But that really good. Literally, you're following each action through, and because it's not going too fast, you can do them in the kitchen as you are.
I think so. Yeah,
speaking.
Yeah.
Do you know what jumps out at me is when you get the repeated work, you get ingredients repeated, and that it threw me a little bit in my head, because I always want to try and say, if I'm going to repeat a word, I want to say it slightly differently.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was trying to look out for yours, and I don't know whether you did it or not. I can't quite remember.
I know what you mean.
It kind of harks back to the fact I've already said ingredients.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You're doing that nod back. You're absolutely right, because there's another one right up at the beginning. I mean, the opener of that second paragraph. You're right. We've talked about mindfulness, and now we're setting the stage for mindfulness. I know you've got to is finding those, because I find repeat words happen a lot.
Yes, they do.
And you've got to somehow make them feel a bit more graceful.
And when you read it the second time, you go, that just for some reason, although it's the same, it doesn't feel like just something is sticking in my thing, and I was conscious of it, and I don't know whether I did it, but I was trying to listen to yours, and weirdly,
how fascinating.
How do you critique that? I mean, that was
she's
great.
always perfect, isn't she, Will? It's very difficult to critique Sam.
There's me going, right, come on, think of something. I wouldn't have done it like that, but
well, I don't know that I could critique myself very easily in that, but insofar as I'm not sure, for instance, I wonder if I could have made more of the, the verbs in the second half of the second paragraph. So basically the point of what we're trying to say,
gather,
notice,
lift,
smell. I wonder if I could have lent into those a little bit more. But
I don't think you needed to. I think we got, as an audience, we got what you were saying really very clearly anyway.
And then if you try to, I remember getting this as a note on stage, if you try and sort of act the verb, it's too much.
Yeah.
The word is doing it, and it's don't. The only other thing is there's two exclamation marks. Well, sorry, two punctuations. The best part question mark and job done.
Job done.
And I don't know. I mean, I tried to put a sort of smile in that. I don't know if that was right. It's kind of job done's a sort of odd thing to say, isn't it?
I agree, but Sam always says ignore the punctuation anyway. So
okay.
Bit of levity.
It is worthwhile remembering that these are real scripts we're working on, but we have changed names and some of the details to avoid copyright issues.
So, Will, you've got a very different script. So
it is very different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is different. So this script I've picked, I actually worked on a few months ago. It's an e-learning thing. It was given to me by a financial company who were doing training for AML, anti-money laundering.
Right.
I don't know, I've done 3 or 4 AML things before, and they are as dull as you like. It's like reading out I don't know, maybe you've done them, reading out a rule book, section 1 states this, section
It's like some of the
2B.
cybersecurity stuff that I've brought before. It can be very, very dry, yes.
Yeah, and there's just, and that was the way they wanted it done, and you do it and you go, all right, fine, there's no room for humour, it's just boom. What I loved about this was written, there were about 10 characters in this piece, and it was done as an audio drama. So it was the whole piece. I didn't, unfortunately, see everything. I only saw my characters and then the bit that I was interacting, the characters that I was interacting with. So it's the setup is a company that is going through some kind of turmoil, and the investigator has to kind of figure out by interviewing people what's happened. And actually, yes, it is caught up in a whole lot of money laundering, etc., etc. So my guy here that I was given is he's the narrator, but he's that detective, the voice in the head, that guy who narrates along. So that gives you a kind of an idea, I suppose.
Is there any particular accent here?
Do you know what? For the purpose of this, I would say go with what you want.
Okay.
I wanted to do this American, and we started doing it American because I was thinking, Philip Marlowe, that kind of thing.
This is what I was thinking, absolutely.
Yeah, we got to, he goes to go and see a PC, and it just became so British that, you kind of thought, well, he could be an American here, but it started to kind of, we went,
so film noir style, but not necessarily the accent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Film noir style, yeah.
Sam, do you want to go first with this one?
Yes, I'm happy to. And you're the same character both on the phone and
so
in the narration.
That's very much dialogue on a ending the phone conversation, and then we go into that archetypal. I don't know who.
Introspection.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right then. Of course, I'll be there right away. May 21st. I receive a call from Goodwin, known to his friends as Dave. He's CEO of a finance company called EVATION, and they're in a whole world of trouble. Caught up in the middle of a money laundering crisis from hell, and I already have a bad feeling about this case. I better not keep him waiting. Sounds like he needs help fast, or my name's not Private Inspector Decker. I take off into the night and make my way to Evasion HQ.
I was a touch confused halfway through there, Sam, because you brought in a tiny bit of American towards the end there.
I was hearing it.
Because I wanted to do it American.
Yeah,
I wanted to do May 21st.
Yes.
I receive a call from Goodwin.
But you had already made the decision not to.
I know.
Yeah. Got them. There were two or three little vowels that came out. Where are we going?
Because I wanted to do it American.
You want to do it American? I was getting directed on this, not by the end client. They were just sort of listening in. You know how it is. But the producer, so it was a production company, and then the end client was kind of listening in, and so I was talking to them, and we wanted to do it American. And although I'd read through the script, I'd kind of forgotten that he goes to go and see he goes to a police station, he sees PCs. It was so British. I thought, he can't,
But it feels so, that they're in a whole world of trouble.
Absolutely.
We want to do that kind of.
And it's kind of written that way.
Bad feeling about this case. I just wanted to do it American.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I can hardly critique you for that, but yeah, I mean.
But yes, having made the decision, I probably should have been a little more pure. But anyway, yes.
I'm going to have a try, but I've got an idea, and it might completely backfire.
Come on.
But let's see.
Be bold.
Let's see. Be bold.
Make a choice.
Of course. I'll be there right away. May 21st. I receive a call from Goodwin, known to his friends as Dave. He's CEO of a finance company called EVATION, and they're in a whole world of trouble. Caught up in the middle of a money laundering crisis from hell, and I already have a bad feeling about this case. I'd better not keep him waiting. Sounds like he needs help fast, or my name's not Private Inspector Decker. I take off into the night and make my way to Evasion HQ.
Oh.
Okay, he was a different guy, wasn't he?
Absolutely. He was Watson, wasn't he? He was much more like he was writing it.
That. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And I don't think he's that comfortable with this either. No, I don't mean you. I don't mean you. I mean your guy is.
Agreed.
This is. I'm a little bit out of my depth here, but
yes,
I'll give it a go.
How the hell did I become Private Inspector Decker? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. I'm glad that came out. I took him to archetypal RP Brit, probably slightly posher than RP, deliberately.
Yeah.
After our discussion there,
sure.
And I didn't think it would work, but I think it did.
Yeah, why not? Why does he could be northern? He could have any kind of regional
absolutely.
accent. They did actually
Very
say
much.
They didn't want a regional accent. That's fine, but why shouldn't he?
Making the choice of that rather clipped British accent gave it a, anything up to about 1950s feel to it.
Exactly.
So it would then depend on what... Is it interesting, isn't it, that we don't hear that accent as much,
No.
in a contemporary setting. But anyway, but yes.
Will, can you tell us and show us what you did with it?
Yeah, sure. This is, I think, pretty much what something along the lines of what I came up with. Okay. Of course, I'll be there right away. May 21st. I receive a call from Goodwin, known to his friends as Dave. He's CEO of a finance company called EVATION, and they're in a whole world of trouble. Caught up in the middle of a money laundering crisis from hell, and I already have a bad feeling about this case. I better not keep him waiting. Sounds like he needs help fast, or my name's not Private Inspector Decker. I take off into the night and make my way to EVATION HQ.
Oh, that was a real character. Unlike mine, that was an absolute real person. And I suspect, certainly in my mind, a fully rounded real character even at that point.
Yes.
So, obviously, I had the luxury of seeing the whole script, of course, and you make I just saw him as Cormorant Strike, that sort of guy,
yes.
So downbeat, just cynical. It's
everyman.
Yeah.
It's what
much more.
when you see in a script an everyman character.
Yes.
He's definitely that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, and what I loved about that is that you kept that absolute believability. I think I skated through it with a sort of not really taking much notice of what I was saying. Almost, I don't say I did in that I said the words, but I didn't imbue it with the kind of reality that you did.
What is this? It's a diary. He's kind of it's a very, very unnatural. I mean, he's not actually talking to anyone, He's talking to himself. He's talking to the list. I decided that he's just talking to one listener, but but not really, It's not. It's very.
Is it not a sort of stream of consciousness?
It is.
It is. So you could. It's
in his head, and he's talking to himself. But and obviously it's they've got to fudge it a bit because they've got to get out facts and they've got to get out
and that's the point. It's still e-learning at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's e-learning. Yeah.
It's a really engaging way of doing it, though. I have to say.
I wish more people would do that.
Play, how do you say that?
And of course, here is the wild card picked in the show. So it is time to approach these scripts in a very different way.
So, Will, can you pick one of the scripts and give one of us a new motivation or character, please?
Right. Okay. I'd like Mark to tackle script 1 again.
Right.
And you are, think Shakespearean tragedian. You think King Lear in the storm. It's that
lovely
kind of bigness. Ranting against everything. Maybe doesn't care who can hear him. It's just loud and big.
Okay. No, that's a great one, Will. Well done. I like it. All right. Okay. Embracing mindfulness in the kitchen allows you to turn an everyday task into a moment of peace and presence. The best part, you are incorporating mindfulness into something you already do, making it an effortless addition to your routine. Job done. Start by setting the stage for mindfulness. Take a moment to breathe deeply and clear your mind. Gather all your ingredients and tools, arranging them neatly. Notice the colours, textures, shapes of the ingredients. Lift the herbs to your nose and smell them.
I knew he was going to do that.
As you wash your hands out, damn spot.
Yes.
Feel the temperature of the water and the sensation of the cleanliness.
Oh, darling, you were marvellous. Marvellous.
Oh, now, thank you, Will, because I loved that.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I wanted it in iambic pentameter, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's more difficult. Wow. No, really enjoyable.
Good.
I
thought I was trying to think of something that probably wouldn't really fit that well, but
But strangely,
You never
it was
know.
quite extraordinary. It was very Peter Dixon, I have to say. It had
did.
that.
Do you know
yeah.
what? I noticed that in the first paragraph, and I tried to come away from that a bit in the second.
You managed to. I
yes, you
thought.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did. Yeah. The moment of peace and presence was rammed
But I think that's an interesting thing. If you spot yourself doing something within a character that you know you can do and you have done and you base other characters on it, I think you can then move slightly more away from it, can't you?
Yeah. And you never know. I mean, you find this on stage. I mean, you muck around with deliveries and stuff. Okay, as a whole, that's going to be ridiculous, but there might be a phrase in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, that might. Maybe I do lean a bit more into that. You know,
And we all know it's lift your herbs to the nose and smell them.
Absolutely.
But no, and you're right. It can give you, even if you don't then do it in that style overall, it can unlock something within the text.
One
yeah,
phrase,
I
even.
agree.
You know, it could be a phrase.
I love it.
Will, I would like you to do script one as well, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I would like you to be a tightrope walker. And you're a tightrope walker. You are walking over a beautiful canyon. It's gorgeous. And because you're quite experienced, you can look around yourself and really notice it. Now, you can work out, you can be on a good day or a bad day. But anyway, you're a tightrope walker walking over a beautiful
I'm a skilled,
canyon.
I know what I'm doing, so I'm not nervous.
No, I don't think you're nervous. But who knows what might happen
As you plunge
mid-walk.
down the canyon.
Yes.
But yes.
Embracing mindfulness in the kitchen allows you to turn an everyday task into a moment of peace and presence. The best part, you're incorporating mindfulness into something you already do, making it an effortless addition to your routine. Job done. Start by setting the stage for mindfulness. Take a moment to breathe deeply and clear your mind. Gather all your ingredients and tools, arranging them neatly. Notice the colours, textures and shapes of the ingredients. Lift the herbs to your nose and smell them. As you wash your hands, feel the temperature of the water and the sensation of cleanliness.
Oh no, he got so far and then fell.
I loved that because you could really hear that giving yourself, having an action to do, really concentrate.
And honestly, I'm out on tiptoes and my hands are out.
Yeah, I bet. You could really feel that, that was so careful at the beginning. And then, it's lovely.
Well, that just leaves Sam to go now. And I am going to go to Will's script because we've done two of the other ones. So, and I wonder if you thought that might happen, Sam.
No, I didn't. I was just thinking that.
Okay. I'm going to be nice to you here because I would like to hear this in your full American.
Yeah.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the narration part,
Yes.
you realise that there's someone in the room and they're not supposed to know any of it. So whether it's whispery or talking in code or whatever it happens to be, you've still got to get all those thoughts out.
Okay.
But they can hear it and they're not supposed to.
Okay, I'll give that a go.
In whatever way you think.
Okay, okay. Of course, I'll be there right away. May 21st. I receive a call from Goodwin, known to his friends as Dave. He's CEO of a finance company called EVATION, and they are in a whole world of trouble. Caught up in the middle of a money laundering crisis from hell. I already have a bad feeling about this case. I better not keep him waiting. Sounds like he needs my help fast. Or, my name's not Private Inspector Decker. I take off into the night and make my way to Evasion HQ.
Love it. Brilliantly done. And we could tell the moment that you realised there was someone there, how you had to change that completely. And to bring back, my name's not Private Inspector Deck, I thought it was really clever.
Yeah.
Really clever.
So it sounded like you were on the phone. In fact, you kept that phone conversation going, if you like. Yeah. And then, and it's like hand over the receiver and all that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think I turned away in the booth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whereabouts in America were you from, Sam?
Just generally around.
Yeah, just around.
Just around.
The gen bit. Well, if you would like to play along in the privacy of your own booth, we've put the scripts in the show notes so you can have a try yourself.
Indeed. Indeed you can. Yes, please do. Now, Will, please play around with these things. Will, our question this week is, you do a lot of stage acting. How tricky is it to move between the stage work you do and the voice acting you do, because they're very different approaches, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think acting's acting, and I remember when I was at drama school, it was like we were, as students, you were really keen to kind of, what's the difference between screen and the tutor would kind of say, well, acting's acting. And that is true, of course. You want to be true, but the central difference for me, it's just remembering to bring it back. When I'm, I am in the amount of times I've been told is, you're very strident, this kind of stuff or whatever.
Less,
and it's like, less. It's that defence barrister I've just been playing or whatever. So when I'm in sort of, I guess, full flow or whatever, and I'm in a long run of a show, I do voice work during the day, and it's a lovely marriage, in fact. Mm-hmm. So there are, I've just got to remember where I am and remember the space and everything. But I have definitely been told to kind of, respect the space and where you are and who you're talking to. That's an obvious thing, isn't it?
Is that more difficult if you are in an outside studio? When we step into our own space booth, we kind of adapt to it almost immediately because it's a familiar place.
Sure.
We know how far away the mic is, all that sort of thing. But I find sometimes if I'm out in a different studio, things change and it's more performance-y.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah,
I find that too, and you're absolutely right, Sam. I think you are more performance-y when you're out and about. I know the exact proximity from the mic for whichever character that I'm doing, and I think that does make a big difference.
Yeah. I think, video games lend themselves, marry with stage work, I think, quite well. But even that, I've, depending on the character, you can, I've still had direction with that's, you just know. I've had feedback that's kind of, just bring that down. And certainly in audio drama.
Yes.
Certainly in audio drama, where I've just had to kind of go, check myself. I'm not, there aren't 500 people out there type
You're
thing.
not trying to reach the back of the room.
Absolutely.
And dubbing, I find dubbing really tricky to move between the two things because you've got to actually be aware of what's happening on the screen and modulate your voice.
I do this Thomas thing, which is great fun. But that is dubbing because it's the franchise now is owned by an American company. So it's
is it done first in American?
It's done first in American.
Right. Okay.
So it's all the little trains. It's very, very different from our day and very, very different from the stop motion.
All the little trains.
All the little trains are kids. So they are voiced by 10, 12, 13-year-olds.
Okay.
And then there are about 4 or 5 adults in the cast. But you've got to take the American, put that back into British English and just kind of,
Yeah.
look at the screen and double along, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
It's fun. Oh, incidentally, a little fun fact about Thomas is one of the episodes I did a couple of weeks ago, and two of the characters are talking, and it's Gordon and Cranky the Crane. And in the American episode, Gordon is a sort of, what do you call it, mid-Atlantic sort of accent, quite a posh, anglicised American, and Cranky is Brooklyn. And they're talking about tomato, and Cranky is going, you say tomato and I say tomato, da. Yeah. I voice both of these characters in the British one. So my Gordon is a sort of schoolmasterly sort of, RP-ish kind of. He's a kindly, elderly, older guy. Mm-hmm. And my Cranky is East End geezer. But my Cranky now has got to say, you say tomato and I say tomato. I mean, it's like... the joke is kind of lost.
Oh, I love that.
So what did you do?
Well, I just had to kind of say tomato, and it just sounded ridiculous. I had to kind of really emphasise the posher RP of tomato.
I love that.
And then, I said this doesn't. Yeah, tomato. That's what I did. Tomato.
Yeah.
And the joke isn't really there because they're both
funny.
ma rather than mays.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, now we're all going to go and watch it. Will, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Channel 5.
Channel 5, excellent stuff. Yeah. I will put it in the show notes as well. A reminder that all of Will Harrison-Wallace's details can be found in the show notes, so go and have a look.
Yes, they can. And also today's scripts can also be found there too. So do subscribe to the podcast and give us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, please. So that's it for this week. Thanks again, Will. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. Thank you for inviting me on to, episode 78? Yay.
78. Will Harrison-Wallace, everyone. And we'll be back next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest when we'll be asking, and this is where we do the title of the show all together, Will. We'll be asking, how do you say that?
How do you say that?